We reassigned all this stuff.
I set in on the jail this afternoon. That was, I don't mind taking that one.
That one's, it's a lot of money problems out there. That's gonna be some work.
The landfill,
The landfill's Sean. I don't know why it says it's vacant.
Yeah.
Sean took that.
and he'd be good for that. 'Cause he-
Yeah, it's in his district.
Uh,
I don't know what the court thing is. We have to ask Taylor.
Any of the emergency stuff that Sean don't want,
I think he wants to keep that too.
I don't blame him.
But
I can do the
I
steps.
think but you have the planning commission. Taylor, what is it on this list of? Can you move just a little? I can't see. Piedmont Court Services, what is that?
That's something he's once a year.
Is that used to be Tommy's? Is that why it's vacant?
Yeah. Lee Harrison. Just got to see that same thing comes out.
No, Piedmont Senior Resource. I mean, Piedmont Regional, no, where is it? Piedmont Court Services. It says vacant.
Yeah, Colin Harrison.
That's ASAP.
Yeah, I think Taylor went to, yeah,
That looks good.
Okay.
yeah, that doesn't look safe to sit in.
So Tommy kind of took all those.
Don't give the lawyer the broken chair. That's a,
I would have exceeded the,
that's a
weight rating.
Law related things.
Yeah.
Police officers. So they just kind of fell where they did. I mean, if you want one of the ones I have, we can talk about it.
I'll actually remove the all the strings.
I don't know what the rules are.
Until they tell
I
me.
know I'll do the jail.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a
I'm
Piedmont
good
Court
with that.
Service beating this vacancy. I'll take that one.
Okay.
And then y'all wanna
Suits-
give up,
suits
all
me.
y'all wanna suck-
Yeah,
suck
and
on.
Sean said something about, you know, you're from the planning commission. He said it's going to be good like that budget. So maybe
That'd be fun.
we'll see. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Pretty good. $7:00.
As you can tell. Don't get too close to the edge, Jeff, please. And if something does happen, please warn me so I can get it on YouTube.
I like your approach.
My mask.
Struggling. All right, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, time is 7:00, and I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Amelia County Board of Supervisors, declare the fact that we do have a quorum. Ask you to bow your heads for just a moment for a brief invocation. God our Father, we thank you for another opportunity to come and to do the business of the county. Thank you for life itself, Father, and for taking care of us during these difficult times. We ask that thou would bless us as we come together, bless our minds and our thoughts and our actions, and bless whatever we do, trusting that it'll be favorable in your sight and uplifting to your kingdom on this side of Jordan. Bless those who come, take care of us one by one. In your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let us stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we've got an agenda here before us, and first item on the agenda is that of an organizational meeting, and this is not the same type of meeting that we would normally have the first of the year. We got a new person aboard and so forth, and so how do we want to handle this, Mr. Harvey?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
seeing as though we have to do some minor shuffling around, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend our rules and have our full organizational meeting tonight rather than January.
All right. Got a motion that we suspend the rules. Further discussion, council, do we need anything else there?
As long as, you can vote on that. They're just your rules and you can amend them.
Further discussion on the motion. Not all those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, the motion is carried.
So, Mr. Chairman, I guess the first order of business is to elect new chairman and vice chairman,
All right,
and I'd like to nominate Joseph Easter as chair.
all right. Joseph Easter's been, motion is nominated for chair. Council, is that okay? We're not,
There's no other motion. If there's no other nominations, then you close nominations, but you can ask for more.
any other nominations? All right, then the nomination is closed with Joseph Easter being nominated chair. Seeing as how there were no other nominations, then I'm going to rule that Mr. Easter is the chair by acclamation. Mr. Easter?
I think you still want to have, there's a motion. I still think the board
We
want
still
to
need
vote
to
on it.
vote.
Mr. Chairman.
We still need to vote.
I'm sorry. Motion is to then make Mr. Easter chairman by acclamation. Can I have a motion to that effect? Got a motion to that effect. Further discussion on the motion. Not all those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it, the motion is carried. Mr. Easter.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate all your years of service and continued service. Also want to welcome our new supervisor, Mr. David Feltz. Thank you and welcome to the meeting. I believe we now need to nominate a vice chairman. So open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
If no one else will do it, I'll nominate Sean Wyatt.
Any other nominations? All right, I'll close the nominations. And with no other nominations, is there a motion to approve Sean as the vice chair?
So moved.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, respond with the sound of aye.
Aye.
Any
Opposed?
opposed? Same sign. Thank you. Motion carries. All right, the next item on our agenda for tonight is approval of the agenda for the meeting. Does anyone have any changes, additions, or deletions to tonight's agenda? Mr. Harvey?
Yes, sir. If we could, we'd like to amend the agenda to add a discussion on raising the threshold of Amelia County small purchase policy from $100,000 to $200,000. It's in front of you.
Something. Any other suggestions for changes to the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that modification?
I'll make that motion.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve with that one item being added, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say same sign. All right. You put that at the beginning of the old new business? All right, I just don't want to forget it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, we have minutes from 2 meetings from October in front of us that were prepared. The October 14th, 2020 workshop and the October 21, 2020 regular meeting. Any comments or discussions on the minutes?
Move to approve as a block, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? All right, can we have a vote on the motion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, nay? Same sign. All right, thank you. Minutes are approved. And we have the approval of September financial reports, the 4 standard reports provided for us and the citizens as well, treasurer's accountability, revenue reports, expense reports, and accounts payable reports. Any questions or discussions on those reports first? All right, do we have a motion to approve them as a block or separate?
I make a motion to approve as a block.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Phelps. All right, any other discussion?
No, we go under small, Robert's rules, small.
Great, just one, all right. Thank you, I just need guidance. Thank you, appreciate that. Let's vote on the motion. All those in favor of approving the 4 reports in a block, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Thank you, the report's approved. All right, we're to the portion of the meeting for public comments. We welcome anyone in the public to approach, state your name and address, and have 3 minutes for public comments on any topic at all.
New glasses. Getting used to them. I'm Russell Easter, District 3, live on Buckskin Creek Road. One concern I have, I know we're getting the grass cut on the back roads and 360, which I think is great. But one thing I've noticed over the last year or so, seems like it's been a long time since they've come around and trimmed all the tree limbs back with this slope mower, or whatever they call it. I know several places where you can have your tires on the hard surface of the road and limbs hit the side of your vehicle or your mirror or your antenna, which I think is a safety hazard, because people tend to want to get over because of the trees. Well, if a car is coming, that's a big problem. And I guess I got to ask y'all a question for this other one, because it just came up. Are y'all going to change any more of your rules tonight, or you just the electing of officers?
That was the only planned item on the agenda.
Okay, because I had planned to talk to my representative about something else before January, when y'all would do that again. So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Do we have any emailed comments in this week? No? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the way I understand it is we just had our organizational meeting. We won't be doing it again in January. So
Oh, I thought that's
if
what I
Mr.
meant.
Easter would like to speak now, then he should do it now.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question then. I
Okay,
thought you were
then
just
we'll
asking
speak.
any other rules tonight.
One of the things that I saw, this was kind of unexpected tonight, but also when the Juneteenth holiday got passed, I think that surprised a lot of people. I think it ought to be in y'all's rules that unless it's something that is time sensitive and cannot wait till the next meeting, you should not be able to change the agenda, to amend it. Because when that happened, it didn't give citizens any chance to know that it was getting ready to happen and contact their representatives. At least if it's on the agenda, you got a week. If you go on the website and look at it, you've got a week. Because I just felt like that night that was done, it was kind of railroaded through real quick. Nobody knew anything about it. So I'd appreciate if y'all consider changing that rule to where you can't amend the agenda unless it's something that's time sensitive, cannot wait till the next meeting. Okay, thank you.
I think that's a fair point. I'll just respond really quickly to that wasn't a separate agenda item. The item for that night was approval of the HR policy, and we had discussion about the content of the policy. Your point's well taken, but just so you know, that wasn't added as a separate item, and so wouldn't show up even if we follow the rule that you're describing. I just don't want to set any false expectations. Any other public comments? All right, we'll close the public comment portion. Thank you for your comments. And we'll move on to the staff committee's organizational reports and presentations. And the first item is the VDOT monthly status report. I believe Mr. Whitaker is representing that report, which is in our packet. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't say. I'm sorry. It's hard to see with the masks and the
That's
lights.
all right.
Thank you.
Nice to meet the new board member. I'm Rebecca Worley. I'm the VDOT representative for Amelia, Chesterfield, and Powhatan counties.
Nice to meet you.
So I'll present our monthly report that you all have in front of you. Our area headquarters staff performed several pipe replacements over the last month, as well as primary mowing on Route 153 and secondary mowing throughout the county. I did want to point out that with the flooding that we had last week, we had a handful of roads that were closed, bridges that were overtopped near the Appomattox River. The final two of those roads, Giles Road and Stony Point Road, were both reopened today. So we don't have any closures remaining related to weather. For traffic studies and special requests, I wanted to point out that the Route 360 study, the public involvement, will be presented virtually starting November 30th or possibly early December. And that'll be posted on VDOT's website, and we will promote it with our public affairs section. So Amelia County could certainly share those announcements about that public involvement opportunity.
Is this for the section around Food Lion?
It includes that section, yeah. So it's 360 from the western end of Chesterfield County, including like the Wood Lake area, all the way through Amelia County to the Cumberland County
okay.
line. Yeah. Not away, sorry. Also wanted to touch on the golf cart and utility use on state routes. I believe I shared information with Mr. Easter on the qualifications there for origins and destinations. So if you all have any others that you'd like to review.
We discussed that topic at our workshop last
Okay.
week, and I have it on my list to follow up with you.
Sure.
Just haven't been able to since then.
right.
But yes, you've been very helpful as I communicated in the workshop last week. It's not necessarily the news we want, but that's not
Sure.
that's not because of you. You've been very helpful with the information.
Okay. Yep, just let me know if
Thank
you
you.
need more information from us. And then from our construction staff, the Route 360 bridge replacement is underway. One lane of each direction of 360 is currently closed for that. There will be a crossover where we switch all traffic to one bridge in order to start replacing the other one. That crossover is scheduled to occur the first week in December. And so we'll be sending out press releases on that as well to let people know about that switch in advance. And ongoing work, Route 681, Clementown Road bridge work is still underway and is scheduled to be reopened in the spring. And that's all I have, unless any of you have any questions.
I do. Can you speak to Mr. Easter's concern earlier?
Yes, I made a note of it, of Buckskin Creek Road. So I understand, he said we've been doing secondary mowing, which is true countywide. I can check on the tree trimming for that specific section. We do provide a list to our roadside group at the district. They kind of package all of our tree trimming district-wide, which gives us better prices. And so I'll look and see if that route or any others, if you all care to know which routes we included on our request list, I can do that.
So in general, if a resident has a concern like that, is there a way for them to report it to VDOT and get action rather than waiting to come to talk to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 1-800 number that citizens can call into and place a work order request. There's also a place on VDOT's main website where you can go online and submit it. And those come directly, depending on the nature of the work, they either come directly to the area headquarters in Amelia County or they come to the residency for us to review.
So if there's a big pothole somewhere or
Right.
instance like he's talking about, they
Yeah,
can report that.
potholes, tree trimming, ditches, things like that go directly to the area headquarters.
Thank you.
He was stating the road he lives on for our purposes.
Yep.
I don't know that he's
Actually, what I was talking about, a whole lot of counties.
that's what I was saying. You meant the whole county. That's what I was trying to say.
It's not
Okay.
just one road. It's kind of countywide. In some
Right.
areas, it's fine
Yeah.
because just the way things are laid out. But in some
Right.
areas, the limbs are out over the road.
Yeah.
I think it would be good if you could get the superintendent to ride the road and look at them, evaluate what ones really need to be done.
Yeah. And just to touch on that, we did this past year when we were submitting our tree trimming routes, we submit them in a block, tried to get the most in one concentrated area. It improves the prices. We did concentrate this year on Amelia County. So I'll check and see which routes specifically were listed there, but he has a fair point, and we've got some work to do as far as tree trimming.
I will comment that I've submitted 3 tickets recently through your online application. All of them were resolved within 48 hours. So like I had specific signs that were not visible because of trees or other things.
Right.
One grass place where grown up couldn't see. All of them were quickly resolved. So I do recommend people use that option where possible. I think for bigger, not just one specific thing like Mr. Easter is talking about, this is good. But if you do have individual spots, that process does seem to work well.
Well, I appreciate that feedback for our area headquarters.
Any other?
I've got one suggestion, question. Folks Bridge Road, where it's paved and then it turns to dirt,
Yes, sir.
we had another accident there the other evening. The car
Okay.
come from the pavement to the dirt. and flipped.
Okay.
There's no signage
For the transition to gravel?
No.
Okay.
And it's become a pretty bad hump there, so when you hit the hump, it throws
Right.
you all off.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions or comments from Ms. Worley? Thank you. Thank you for
thank
coming in
you.
person tonight. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to item number 2 in this section, Amelia County School Board. I see Dr. Harper. Thank you. We moved you to this side this week, so you have to walk farther. Yeah.
Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Harvey. I would like to start by welcoming Mr. Feltz to the Board of Supervisors on behalf of Amelia County Public Schools.
Thank you, ma'am.
So our end of October enrollment was 1570, and our current ADM is 1562. This month, Amelia County Public Schools recognized several staff members. First, we had staff members recognized for the Southside Virginia Regional Technology Consortium Awards. Brittany Thomas was recognized as a technology teacher. Nicole Zabrowski was recognized for instructional support, and David Audley was recognized for technology support. In addition, we had the pleasure of, congratulating our teachers of the year who were identified at the end of the last year, and they serve for the entire school year. At the high school, Mr. Jonathan Kraus. At the middle school, Mr. Ian Shee, and at the elementary school, Ms. Ashley Harris, who was also identified as the Division Teacher of the Year. This evening, we have shared with you the 2020 October financial reports. We have completed our 4th month in the fiscal year where revenues and expenditures should be about 33%. We are well below that with revenues and expenditures at 24.71%. We have some allocation documents for your approval. The first is a request to change an appropriation due to carryover of federal program funds. The fund categories include Title I, Title II, Title IV, VPSA, and IDEA. As you may be aware, federal funds operate on a federal fiscal year that begins in October, and some funds can run over more than a 1-year period. The second appropriation letter is for a state VTSS, that's Virginia Tiered Systems of Support grant, awarded to Amelia County Public Schools. No local match is required for any of these federal or state programs. So we are seeking your approval of those appropriations this evening.
I move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? All right, we'll vote on that motion. Then all those in favor say aye. Aye. Yeah, all those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The final thing and piece of information for you is that the 5-year plan for the Amelia Nottoway Technical Center was sent to Mr. Harvey to be forwarded to each of you as requested by members of the board. So I'm
When,
happy to answer any questions you may have.
when was that, when did that get sent to Mr. Harvey?
Just this week.
And is there a meeting tomorrow on that?
Yes, sir.
What's the purpose of that meeting?
The purpose of that meeting is to take public comment from members of the community, as well as the Amelia County School Board will have a discussion regarding the status of the Technical Center.
Will the 5-year plan be presented at that meeting?
The 5-year plan was presented at the most recent school board meeting. It can also be located on board docs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Dr. Harper? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to agenda item number 3, a Board of Supervisors Committee and Activity Report. We usually go in order of district, but that feels unfair to the brand new supervisor to put him first. So I'll be happy to kick us off, and then we'll go just down the table this direction. I only have 2 things to report on for this month. The Crossroads Community Services Board, of which Amelia is participating one of the 7 counties. We have had several meetings recently. If you read the Farmville Herald, there's been a lot of articles and comments there about some challenges that Crossroads is facing. I do feel that the actions the board is taking, which include bringing in an outside consultant and doing a performance review of the director, are sufficient and remain involved in those efforts. And the second item is we do continue to meet as the committee for CARES funds, and we are closing in on the currently stated deadline of December 31st, although we do continue to get indications that those deadlines may be extended. But we are closing in on using most of the funds with the intention to use all of the funds for Amelia County citizens and services by the end of the year. Thank you. Mr. Wyatt.
All right, I've had a few meetings over the past month. I guess I'll start with the CLEO meeting. It appears that unemployment, at least in our area of Virginia, is pretty steady right now. Has gone down and is holding. And the statewide, they are still behind on unemployment, processing unemployment claims from the spring. So, you know, they just, I know people, I'm sure they're frustrated, but they're still working on it. So they wanted that to be clear. And to let everybody know that there are programs available for anybody that's been put out of work. Training resources available to help you get back into work. We had a short meeting. Mr. Scott may elaborate on it. The Hindle building is in progress, but I'll let you elaborate on that one.
Go ahead, you can talk about it.
We met at the Hindle building and just kind of toured the building and previewed it, and just so we could get an overlook and kind of fill out what we talked about it briefly, but they're going to look into it, see what we can do with the building. If it would be a mixed use, part government kind of office complex or part retail, coffee shop, something like that. The man, I forget his name, I apologize, I'm terrible with names, but they come out, he was pretty enthusiastic about the building and the layout and talked like he had some ideas. It's what he does, so of what we could do with it. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from him. Went to the library meeting last night. The library has submitted their RFPs and they picked the company they wanted for their feasibility study with as far as expanding the library. They made that a motion last night. So probably by the end of this week, beginning of next week, they'll be, they asked me, I advised that we had approved it. So I think they can move forward with the funding, and it come in under budgeted what we allowed, which is a +2. And the last meeting I did was the Landfill Advisory Committee. We finally got that up and running. It appears it's been on hiatus for a few years. All of the current members said they wanted to stay on it. Everybody agreed at the meeting that it should be reactivated and actually used as a advisory committee and not just a if needed basis. They agreed on quarterly meetings beginning in January of this year, just to kind of start over and start from scratch. They will be, if the public's interested in going, we scheduled them, they'll be on, I believe, the third Fridays of each quarter at 9 a.m. in the county office building is the plan. As far as the landfill goes right now, they give us some updates. A lot of people in Maplewood have been complaining about the unbearable odors here lately that we've never really experienced like that. They currently have 4 deodorizer units working that they just recently put in. There's a 5th larger unit that's going to be a permanent one that's on the way. They just started with a new foam spray system to spray all the trash to use as a cover. It's a protein-based system that's supposed to help blanket the smell even better than, the problem is they use tarps. And when you pull those tarps off, you get a nice early morning burst of rotten smell. So the foam will just lay there and they can put more trash or dirt over top. That's on they started roughly 2 weeks ago now on that. It's an approved system, but it's experimental for them. They're on a 180-day trial basis with it. So they're closely monitoring it while they do it, along with the company that's teaching them how to use it to make sure it's effective. A couple of things that I found out in that meeting, I just like the citizens to know that I asked a question I didn't know. They take used motor oil at the landfill for Amelia County citizens. I had no idea. People are always asking me what to do with their used motor oil. So they do accept it. As well as he told me, made a note that they take any type of household hazardous waste. For that, sometimes you may want to call ahead of time to make sure that the right person's there to be able to dispose of it for you. But I thought those were a couple of notable pluses from the landfill. I believe that's all I've got.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that. I want to thank Sean for attending the Clio meeting. I had a funeral that day that I could not make it, but I appreciated your attending that meeting in my stead there and making that report. Had a CMPT meeting on the 29th of October. And we had sat in on the VACO annual business meeting on call-in with on November the 11th, and that was pretty interesting. And of course, the PSR meeting we had on yesterday, that was also interesting. I appreciate the board having abided with me this month. I had a lot of losses this month with my family and so forth, but other than that, all is well. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. And this month, since the last meeting, I had a STEPS board meeting, and STEPS is currently undergoing a audit from CARF, the C-A-R-F, which is an agency that rates nonprofits that deal with people helping with medical issues. And I attended their opening and closing sessions, or opening session. I didn't make the closing session, but they were very highly rated. Just a couple little things they have to fix, but that's turned into a really well-run organization. I attended the District 1 candidate forum when the 3 men from District 1 had their semi-debate. 3 VACO steering committee meetings, 2 on energy and 1 on economic development and planning. At a Go Virginia Regional Council meeting. We had the closing session, Joseph and I did, for the VACO Supervisor Certification Program this class dealt with budgeting. So we finished that class. And the tour of the Hindle building was with a potential developer. He actually is potential for doing the feasibility study only and or participating in the development of that building when the time comes. And we're all excited about that. We're supposed to hear something back from him this week. And I attended a Piedmont Senior Resources Finance Committee meeting as well as the regular meeting yesterday with Frank On and off, I attended the VACO, Virginia Association of Counties annual conference. It was virtual this year. It was 3 days long, and I couldn't stay for the whole 3 days, but I did pop in and out when things were interesting to me. We had the board work session 2 weeks ago, or last week. And this morning, they had the CRC meeting, which Mr. Phelps and I attended. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to be left out, so I attended some meetings also. Like Roger said, I attended the CRC board meeting this morning just for information, because I'd never been to one. And I also did the Piedmont Regional Jail Authority this afternoon. And also sat in on the landfill committee with Mr. Wyatt last week.
I think that's pretty good for 2 weeks, so welcome aboard. All right, we'll close this section and move to item number 4, the Sheriff's Office resolutions. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, we've got some resolutions that the Sheriff's Office has provided. We've got a couple of resolutions that the Sheriff's Office has provided to honor 2 employees that have recently retired. One of those employees could not make it tonight, so we thought that if it would work, that Sheriff Walker and Mr. Baker would come forward to the podium, and maybe Mr. Easter, if you could go down with them, and I'll read this resolution, and you could call for a motion and make it official with him right here. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Baker. And the resolution is written is Resolution of Appreciation from the County of Amelia recognizing Bruce W. Baker for dedicated service as a communications officer of Amelia County. Whereas Bruce W. Baker began his service to Amelia County as a communications officer on August 1st, 2008, and has provided the citizens of Amelia County 12 years of dedicated and loyal service. And whereas during his service as communications officer, Bruce consistently endured training that is making Amelia County's next generation ready, obtaining and maintaining required in-house, state, and federal certifications that allowed him to assist as a first responder that is not on scene. And whereas Bruce valued and pursued educational opportunities, always staying on the forefront of evolving technology, being professional and navigating through inter-office changes, he was promoted to Quality Assessment Controller, this high standard of data collection and analysis to which the degree of conformity to predetermined standards and criteria are exemplified. And whereas as the seasons, years, and people have come and gone, Bruce Baker has been faithful, zealous, upholding the integrity of the Sheriff's Office while performing the tedious job of endless paperwork, managing safe and open radio traffic, as well as providing a polite, attentive, and empathetic voice on the line of any call for service, being a repository of knowledge that will be hard to match or duplicate. And now therefore be it resolved that the Amelia County Board of Supervisors recognizes the loyalty and dedication of Bruce W. Baker, extends appreciation for his steady and dedicated service in his career as communications officer of Amelia County, extends the love and affection of the grateful citizens of Amelia County, and wishes him many years to come of good health and relaxation with his family. Adopted this day of November, 18th day of November, 2020. So that's your resolution.
Move the approval of the resolution.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Good.
All right, our next item on the agenda is committee assignments for our new supervisor from District 1. We have a list in our packet of the current committee assignments. We'll note the ones that say vacant. We have been covering since the last supervisor left. So we have been covering those, but it'll be nice to have a fifth so we can divide them up a little bit more. I'm not sure how we're planning this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to start off by saying I'd like to keep everything that I have. I've been acting as the primary for the Commonwealth Regional Council since Tommy left, and I'd like to be made the board rep and ask that David Phelps be my alternate.
All right, thank you.
I've got a quick note for you. The Clio, it's funny that this come up because Deborah just talked about it the last meeting. She said that you don't have to be the chief local elected officer. And as a matter of fact, since that usually moves from year to year and they like to see the same faces, she just brought it up to let us know that you could continue coming. So I have no problem on that one. If you just move me, if Ms. Frank still wants to do it.
Which one?
The Clio.
Cleo?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem doing it since I've been going,
That's good. That's all right.
and she said they like that better anyway. So I just thought so you don't feel like you have to take it.
That's fine. That's completely fine. I would like to attend occasionally, at least so I understand what the meeting
Oh,
is,
yeah.
but I'm happy for you
Yeah.
to be the representative. Okay. I had only temporarily been doing the Piedmont Regional Jail Authority, and I think Mr. Phelps and I traded an email this week if he's okay, and he attended that meeting today. If he's okay to take that one, I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
And I was temporarily in the landfill. If somebody else would like that, that's fine. I mean, I can kind of advise on the smell of the landfill from my house sometimes, so I don't necessarily.
It is in your district, though. There is some value in you it's up to you.
I can do it. If somebody else
I don't have a preference.
wants it or interested, now that we got it up and running again.
Such a good job. You should keep it, Sean.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I had been serving as Director of Emergency Services, and that was primarily because I was chairman, and I believe that that's a position that the chairman was.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. I'll reflect that one. Mr. Phelps, would you be interested and willing in picking up the Social Services Advisory Board that I currently have? That'll keep us a little more balanced.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, that's fine.
All right, any other?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, please.
there's one other vacancy, the Piedmont Court Services. Can you get an explanation of what that is? That's vacant. I'll take that too.
Oh. That was Tommy's?
We think so.
That was Mr. Gleason, but that's a seldom called committee associated or based out of Farmville.
Well, we need a representative though, right? Okay, that sounds good, Mr. Phelps. Thank you.
It says here it's an agency dedicated to enhancing public safety, reducing crime, reinforcing offender accountability, and promoting lawful and productive something. So probably goes along with the jail authority.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Any other changes needed? What's the,
Are there any other things that go along with being the chair that we need to do?
I think it was just the Director of Emergency Services that we just swapped, and then the discussion around Clio, which, are there any other ones?
I think it's
Yeah.
right. I
Okay,
think that's it.
all right, that sounds good. There's a row under the Planning Commission where Mr. Scott's name is showing. Is that an alternate or there's two?
I'm the alternate.
No, it's an alternate. Okay. I'm just going to move that to the alternate column on my version. Thank you.
I forgot about the planning commission. I don't know if David wants to take that to fill back at home.
That's fine.
I mean, you don't feel like you have to. I just didn't know if you've been doing that for a while, so I didn't know if you'd like to go back.
I've got some experience there. I wouldn't mind doing
Yeah,
it. You want to be the alternate?
yeah, that's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine. You
Yeah,
can have
I
that.
almost forgot. What other committee? are
We
on?
usually stay at the meetings anyway when we're there, all of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think that looks like that wraps us up. I thank you all. We'll work on making the adjustments to all the distributions, et cetera. And again, welcome, Mr. Phelps. All right, our next item is the fire and EMS frameworks of the future. We heard a good discussion of this in, I think it was the October working session, and look forward to welcome Mr. Emerson back to discuss that here at the full board meeting.
Good evening. This plan is the culmination of the request that you all submitted to us back in the summer. We've tried to gather input from all the stakeholders to provide the information that you were looking for. And it should be in your booklet. It's very similar to what you all saw in the work session a couple months ago. It's basically a phased approach for supporting the current volunteers with a plan also to supplement the volunteers at whatever point they become unable to fulfill their duties. It also contains some other information such as concerns that are going to impact county staff as well. It contains information about potential funding sources, and then it finishes up by with some appendices with supporting information that may be of benefit to you going forward. It's in your hands now. If you wish to move forward with doing anything else with it, please just let me know what you want to do. And I'll be happy to try to answer any questions if you have any.
Were there any material changes since the workshop meeting?
Nothing changed in the intent.
Okay.
There were some wording changes to make things clearer, but I believe the intent that we had a couple months ago is the same intent that it is now.
Thank you. Because I think the primary thing you were waiting on at that point was the full feedback from the emergency squad.
That's correct. Yes,
okay.
sir.
And they've provided the feedback.
Yes.
Which
Yes, they
resulted
did.
in clarification, but no material change. Okay.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
So I'm confused. I thought at our workshop, we had agreed that you were going to go off and get an RFP to go off and get a consultant. Or do you need us to vote on that?
That's separate. This isn't the communications piece.
This is,
This is from our workshop
Right.
a couple months ago. Oh, countywide emergency services.
oh, okay. Yeah.
This is for the fire and EMS
Yeah.
future. I believe you're referring to the communications,
Yeah, the
which is
cover looked the
a
same.
separate issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'd like to thank you for making it, Ken, taking the time. And I think that, I know we don't need it today and hopefully not tomorrow, but now that you've built it, I think it'd probably be easier if we make it a living document, basically. And
Absolutely.
where we could pull it out at any time, under your advisement or the fire departments or EMS or whoever. Now that we have such a nice piece, I'm sure as things may need to change
We can
in
keep it
the
updated.
future, and we have the framework set. So I really
Most of
appreciate
the
you
work
making
came
it.
from the volunteers.
Good. Well, I do encourage the citizens, as Mr. Emerson mentioned, it is in our book, which is online on the county's website, so all citizens can read through. This is a plan, not a commitment, but it's great information about the background of what the needs are and intentions for the future. The board has stated fire and emergency services as one of our top 4 priorities. And so this will be a very helpful document as we move into budget planning, which will kick off imminently. And so I think that's when we'll see some direction in how we choose to be able to fund things to proceed. Thank you. And thanks to all the volunteers for contributing with that. All right, our next item is the Piedmont Area Veterans Council, and we're glad to have Sarah Maddox here to talk to us about the activities of the council and how they have impacted Amelia citizens.
I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm a co-founder for the Piedmont Area Veterans Council. We are referred to as a CVAB, a Community Veteran Engagement Board. We cover 8 counties in the Piedmont area. We cover Appomattox, Amelia, Buckingham, Charlotte, Cumberland, Lunenburg, Nottaway, and Prince Edward. We are a total volunteer organization. We have about 6 members that come in. Most of us are either former veterans ourselves or retirees. The VA recognized a few years ago that the VA could not fill all the gaps in services that a veteran needed, or the family members of a veteran or their dependents. So they came up with what's called My VA Communities. The Piedmont Area Veterans Council is a second federally approved community veteran engagement board in the state of Virginia. So Amelia County residents, you should be, and supervisors, very proud of that. Because when a veteran anywhere in the United States comes to the Piedmont area, they can click on the VA website and it pulls up the counties that we cover, the information about what we do and how we work with the counties to serve those needs. We see approximately 432 veterans a month. That may not sound like a lot to you, but for us it's a lot because we're a six-man staff, 6 with 1 woman. The first year we were open, we collected on just one benefit for veterans over $11 million for the counties. That's a cash monetary benefit that's going into the veteran's pocket every month. So if that veteran lives for 5 years, you're looking at $55 million going back into the counties. I think that we're a pretty phenomenal resource. If you come to the Piedmont area, you have your veteran service organizations with the American Legion and the VFW. We are very unique in that we're not a service organization. We are a CVAB, a Community Veteran Engagement Board. We partner with businesses, individuals, community colleges, hospitals. We work with the National Director for the VA Services for the healthcare. We have the Director for the VA Medical Center for Richmond and for the Salem VA Hospital, who also contribute to our board. So when a veteran comes in, right now, there's 6 CVABs in the state of Virginia. We are the only one-stop, full-service center that a veteran can come to, and every need that veteran could possibly need, we can meet. We have MOUs with the Vet Center. The Vet Center does mental health counseling. So the Vet Center uses our office. They come and they do individual and group counseling. We have an MOU with the Virginia Employment Commission. They provide levers and DVIPs, which I'm sure most of you know what they are. They are disabled veteran outreach people, but they come and they work with our veterans and the spouses, including Vietnam veterans, to help with job placement, resume. We complement that by doing a Dress for Success program and actually coaching them so they have a better chance of getting federal and state jobs or either starting their own businesses. Veterans come with a lot of resources already, so a lot of them will qualify for benefits that they don't even know that are available to them, so we can educate them and put those in place for them. Last year in Amelia County, we helped with, we've been working with Amelia Cemetery, and we've tried to start a separate fund. We have quite a few calls for help for financial assistance, even for their burial expenses. So we were able to help bury some people from Amelia at the Amelia Cemetery and pay for those bills. We also did some financial support. And when I'm saying financial support, it's not from your donated dollars that you give to us. We go out and we actually raise the money for whatever the need is by community partners. And then we have one veteran here that's combat wounded, older veteran, who needed help with weatherization in his home, and we were able to help him. But we help with anything the veteran could possibly need, or the widow. We also look at it as a way of helping the counties to some degree, because when we help a veteran, if a veteran comes in and we've offered benefits and they get those benefits, then it may mean that they're not paying $1,400 a month private for health care. We can get free health care now for the spouse and the dependents. We can get 36 months of college for their dependents at no charge for that veteran. We can get life insurance for the veteran who may not qualify for life insurance with any other policy because he's already labeled disabled. So pretty much anything that they would need, we try to fill that gap or we find a resource. In December of last year, we were donated a building by the former town mayor, I think, Sid Newman. I think he was a Korean War veteran as well. It's a 9,000 square foot building. Hopefully, we have a tenant right now that's in it. Hopefully sometime this year or first part of next year, that will be the first community veteran engagement board and a prime example of what all community veteran engagement boards should be for the state of Virginia. And right now there's only 6. I started the first one in Virginia. The Piedmont one is my second one. And I'm working with Winchester and some of the others to get those up and running. But it's a great way. It's phenomenal. I think that we have every county I've worked in, we have wonderful veterans who just really don't know how to obtain their benefits or what they need to do. And they get shoved off to 20 or 30 different agencies. And in our office, it's not that way. We do everything for them and they don't have to be confused, or we do board hearings for them. So instead of them having to drive to DC, we actually do the board hearings with them. I have a veteran with me from Amelia County, if you'll allow him to speak, that we just recently helped.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Walker, and I relocated here 2006. And I went to the VA to get some assistance. And let me just say this, start from the beginning. I put my first application in for benefits on April the 23rd, 1969. From 1969 until January the 21st of 2019 was the first time that I ever got any progress. That was over 50 years. And this lady here, everyone that I ever went to see, at every different post, I asked guys, can they help me? Man, they just shoved me off. Down to VA, I kept putting in paperwork. Denied, until I met Miss Sarah. And the only reason I met her, because a cousin of mine went to her and told me, said, look, go see this lady. She will listen to you. That was the first time anybody ever listened. And she listened, and the next thing I know, I'm getting positive paperwork back. Over 50 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was very heartbreaking for me and disgusting, and I was very angry about it, but I didn't get angry with anybody. And she helped me, and she's still helping me. And I went to the post around here in Amelia, 2006. I went in there and I asked the guy about somebody helping me. He said he couldn't help me. I never went back. Now, you understand what I'm saying? But up in Farmville, you go in there, you get an appointment with her, she listens. That's all I needed someone to do, just listen to what I had to say. And everything came out positive. So I'm saying to you guys, she helped me. I want y'all to help her. That's why I pay my taxes here at Amelia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Oh, I want to say that the VFW here and the American Legion are phenomenal organizations. We work with them. We work with STEPS. We work with every nonprofit in every 8 counties. We try to complement what they're doing. If they have a veteran and we can help them, then we fill that gap. If they have a portion of it or a piece of it that they can help, then we send them to the other organizations. And we really have become very well respected, I think, and very well received in every county. I cannot thank this county enough for believing in us and supporting us. We started in 2015. 2016, we applied for a nonprofit. We were approved, I think, in less than a month, which was pretty quickly. The town of Farmville gives us a building right now. And we had veterans come in and they donated all of the labor, the materials, and the work. So the building is basically a 4-room little house, but it works, and we're very proud that we're here. We plan on being here forever. And it's nice to know that veterans in this county and other counties don't have to go through multiple layers of people, and that their county administrators and their county board of supervisors are supporting them, and everything that they need is right here, right in the Piedmont area. And I'm welcome to answer questions, but I thank you, each and every one of you, for everything. I am an Army veteran. My husband's an Army veteran. He works with me. Most of the veterans, like I said, almost everybody in the office is a veteran. They're retired and they're dedicated. They come in, we work. It's nothing to go by the office at 7 o'clock and see me at the office, and at 11 or 12, I'm still there, and I come in on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays and work too. We do whatever we have to do to get the job done. But I thank you, every one of you, and thank you, Mr. Harvey, as well. Any questions for me?
Mr. Chairman, during my time of campaigning and seeing folks, I actually met 2 folks that spoke very highly of this lady and her organization.
Thank you. We try very hard.
That's excellent.
Whatever support we can do would certainly help. I know a couple of citizens that I spoke to in Amelia.
We look at it. I graduated from Liberty, so don't hold that against me, Liberty University, but I look at it. Every veteran that comes in the door, we have an opportunity to change that veteran's life. And if we change that veteran's life one person at a time, then we have the opportunity to affect the family and the children. And what better blessing? I mean, I feel like, I've been very blessed. Like I said, I was in the Army. I've been working with veterans for 40-some years. So it's pretty much my passion. I love it. But I feel like I've been very blessed that everywhere I've gone, we've had great supporters. And as we should. I mean, freedom in this country is not free. And if you've ever gone to the polytrauma unit at McGuire or the amputee unit, I worked in the bird unit. It makes you realize that what troubles we have are very, very small compared to what veterans have to some degree. And no amount of money or benefits that I can give them is going to give them back their life. So whatever we can do to help, we're here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for your service to the country. Thank you for sharing a very moving story, and I'm glad that it had a positive outcome, even though far too late. And Ms. Strauss, thank you for the service to the veteran community as well. We're glad we've been able to support the organization for the last couple of years and look forward to including you in future.
And we will, I promise you, we have a lady that started today. We will be able to give you better statistics, but last year we collected $3 million in benefits. And I think that was only for 6 months. And like I said, we don't turn any veteran away. So if they call in, we help veterans that we've never even met. We never see them face to face. And those veterans we collected $628,000 for last year. That's just one benefit. If we counted everything, it would be probably triple, quadruple that.
That's great. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Sean Stearns reports that we have a call-in user on WebEx, which has passed public comments, but it might be somebody to comment on this. I'm not sure.
Could it be the next agenda item? She was going to attend virtually.
Ms.
Could be.
All right, well, that's a great point. Well, our next agenda item is the Piedmont Soil and Water Conservation update from Allison Cruz. Ms. Cruz, is that you on WebEx? I don't. Okay,
Sean's going to unmute.
I see. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Dr. Schaefer. Good evening, my name is Cruz, and I am here as an elected director on soil and water. I'm sorry, there's feedback for. We put Amelia Way in Edwards County. Tonight, I'd like to give the work of the district area. Good morning and welcome to the at piedmont@swc.org. You find us on Facebook. It's our page. Can y'all hear me okay?
You're cutting out a
little
bit.
choppy.
I'm sorry. Is this any better?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll start with hearing about our ag conservation program. The Piedmont Soil and Water continues to promote and facilitate the conservation practices that benefit water quality and revenue matters. I apologize.
Yeah,
I'll try this person and he said, look, what's portrayed.
it is a little bit of a struggle. We did receive the materials that you presented to us, the annual report, as well as a summary, specifically of activities. I think.
I apologize. John, have a good name.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cruz. We're sorry about that. We will review the materials that you presented to us, and we will follow up with you offline to see about a future meeting from there.
I will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item is amended agenda.
Yeah, moving on to the old and new business section where we added the item for the small purchase policy. Mr. Harvey, you want to present?
Yes, sir. That's, Mr. Gore can address it. Mr. Gore can address anything that I missed, but I printed out his notes to us. We've got a small Amelia County small purchase policy that we just updated to bring it to agreement with the state code in 2018. That's since changed, and the barrier has been raised from $100,000 to $200,000. And with these two care projects we have, both of them are over the $100,000 limit. So we'd like to go ahead and get this raised up if we could, so we can go ahead and complete these jobs that are in hand. And Mr. Gore here, he's certainly got the technical things down.
Mr. Chairman, board members, so your small purchase policy is pursuant to the State Procurement Act, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It has various threshold for small purchase in the state is now $200,000 as of last July 1st. That doesn't mean you don't see competition. So under the small purchase policy that has to be in writing, which you have, you still have to seek competition as much as practicable. And in your own policies, when you get to the highest tier, you have various tiers. When you get to the highest tier, staff's required to at least try and get 4 quotes. Can't always get that, but you need to try to get that. So I just want to make sure the public understands that even if you're not following the more strict Procurement Act, state law allows this more informal process. Really, the goal is so you can be a little more nimble when you need to be. And the General Assembly has seen fit to raise that threshold to $200,000. And so if you're, and it does not require an ordinance or resolution, you can do it by motion tonight. And if you do that, then as Mr. Harvey has explained, it will facilitate the current transactions under the CARES Act.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Yes. How do you legally distinguish between a service and a professional service?
Professional services are defined in the Virginia Public Procurement Act. It's a specific list of professions, engineers, architects, surveyors, accountants. There's a few more. IT is not. Most things aren't defined as professional services, even though you might think they would be.
So pretty much people that have licenses to do certain things are considered professional services.
Right. Not all, but certainly the list in the code, everyone who's in there does have a professional license.
Okay, I move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? All right, as on the motion to approve, all those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda are committee appointments, not for the board that we already discussed, but committees throughout the county where citizens serve on these committees.
That's correct. Would like me to take?
Please.
First one, Lee Harrison has a term on the ASAP committee. Term expired August 31st, and they're asking that he be placed back on there.
What is ASAP?
I think it's Alcohol Safety Action Program.
So are you looking for him to be nominated or?
They have sent a letter asking that he be reappointed.
Is this one of the committees that's in our?
No.
We have the book online that lists all the committees. I don't remember this one being in there.
No, I don't think it is.
Probably how we didn't realize it was expiring. Okay.
No, we realized it was expired. I reached out to them, but because of COVID, they weren't active in doing this at the moment. We received this 17th of November, finally.
Okay.
Do we need to make motions for these?
Yeah, I would say, does anyone have, well, yeah, let's cover one at a time. Does anyone have a motion regarding Mr. Harrison and this committee?
I'll move to resubmit him or whatever the term, appoint him to the committee ASAP.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on the motion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Planning Commission?
Okay, Planning Commission, and just for information, I have reached out to Travis Barnard and Mr. Worsham, and they are agreeable to additional appointments if it's the pleasure of the board.
Didn't we just appoint Travis? Was that an unexpired term? Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Place.
So this, okay. Thank you.
And I've talked to Mr. Worsham also. He's out of my district, and he's willing to serve another term. I'll move
You got to nominate
approval.
Do I do it now?
in a minute.
Let's talk about the third one real quick, though. So Mr. Phelps was referenced earlier, was on the commission, and so now his spot is vacant because he has resigned from that once he became voted into this board. Do you want, Mr. Phelps, do you want to make a motion for a replacement?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to appoint or nominate Whit Morris to take my spot. I guess he would finish my term and then we would do it again after that.
Right, because Travis and Howard's expire at the end of this year, and yours, which he would take on, expires, looks like the end of next year. All right, do we have a motion to reappoint Travis Barnard and Howard Worsham, and to add Whit Morris in the open position.
So move.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, same sign. Right, thank you.
And then we have on the Board of Zoning Appeals, a 5-year term is getting ready to open up. David E. Poor III has it now. That's Tripp. And I talked to Tripp yesterday, and he is also agreeable to serve another term if he is so appointed.
There's no I should have asked these for the others. There are no restrictions on number of terms to serve. Okay. Tripp is in my district. I firmly recommend him to continue if that's the pleasure of the board.
Sure. Our little booklet says District 3 is vacant as well on that. Did you nominate somebody, Sean?
I wasn't aware, sorry.
Okay. I'm looking at it online. It says it's vacant.
Oh. I can make a note to find somebody for you.
All right, thank you. Can I make a motion?
It's been vacant since 2019.
All right, so Mr. Wyatt says he'll make a note to look for someone since that's his district. Is there a motion to reappoint David Poor III?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. And Social Services Board.
That's Mr. Foster. Social Services is an organization, department that there are limits. You get 2, but Mr. Foster is just finishing an unexpired term that Marjorie Washington had. So he's not had his first term yet, and he's certainly agreeable to serve if so appointed.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Foster this year on social services. I think he took over that position about the same time that I joined, and we did have our meeting today. And he definitely committed. He'd be happy to join again. I realize, Mr. Phelps, you probably didn't have a lot of advance notice on this one, but again, he has been great to work with this year. It is from your he is from District 1. I guess I should have clarified that. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just to confirm, somebody has talked to him, because I haven't, because I just heard about this, but.
Yes, because he and I've been the board representative on social services so far. And so I've been in multiple meetings with him. And then today we specifically asked him his intentions. And yes, he said he has enjoyed his first year on it and would be happy to seek a full term.
That's fine.
All right, do you have a motion to reappoint him?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to keep Mr. Foster on the Social Services Board for a second term.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Is that all of our committee appointments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, moving on to the second item. In this section, we have a request for surplus equipment from the Sheriff's Office.
Yes, so those are 11 tasers that have aged out. They're declaring them surplus. So this would, they're asking us to take them back in. Public Works would pick them up and dispose of them through whatever means that they can get the most money.
Okay. I think I saw in the notice not expecting them to, no, maybe it was an email, not expecting them to be offered for general use auction
right.
only to other law enforcement agencies, correct? Okay. Any comments or questions on this request to surplus these 11 tasers?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any of those in opposition, same sign. All right, thank you. And next item, last month's meeting, we discussed a request from the Virginia Loggers Association to exempt logging equipment from personal property taxes. And we said we would take a month to think about that. And then we would agree to discuss this time along with an update from staff on amendments 12 and 13 that were in that state code as well.
Got that right here. Mr. Gore, would you like to go over those? This is the new section that highlighted was what the General Assembly had just added. I can-
We had
question-
directed, in the motion last month was to defer discussion of the request from Virginia Loggers Association to this month and to direct staff to investigate whether there was anything we should do with the new amendments number 12 and 13. So I think we're just looking for staff's recommendation on 12 and 13, and then we'll have discussion on the Virginia Loggers Association request as well.
You mean 12 and 13 in the current statute in state law? Yeah, I mean, I can read the law. I don't have any staff advice on it.
Well, we can talk about it. Sure. We're able to. That these two sections had been added. It's actually it's 14, I think, that we're looking at. That's the one that it. 12 and 13, those are the motor vehicles that are used primarily for agricultural purposes, for which the owner is not required to obtain a registration certificate, license plate, and decal, or pay a registration fee pursuant to, and it leads the code sections. Those are the vehicles that you see going up and down the road that have the tag from Napa that says farm use on it. So those are eligible to be exempted. So that is 12. And then trucks, 13 is trucks or tractor trucks as defined in 46.2100 that are primarily used by farmers in their farming operations for the transport of farm animals or other farm products as enumerated in subdivisions 1 through 7. And that is horses, cattle, sheep and goats, hogs, poultry, grains, and tobacco, wine. Those are the trucks that you see that have the F plate. They are licensed. They are inspected. And you do pay registration fees for them. So those are two classifications that are eligible for being exempted if the board so chose.
Okay, but you don't have the motion last month was for staff to investigate and make a recommendation on those two. We don't have that yet. Is that correct?
We don't have a
Okay.
recommendation, no, sir.
All right. That is in the minutes from the last meeting that was the motion. So I think we still need to get the staff that and for staff to work with the Commissioner of Revenue for a united recommendation on that. We've had the month for discussion of the loggers request though, from board members. Any discussion or recommendations around that item?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I've got 2 loggers in District 1. I've talked to both of them. And I'd really hate to see these businesses leave the county to another county that doesn't exempt the logging equipment. Our comp plan says forestry and agriculture are our 2 biggest industries. I think we should treat them the same and help the foresters out when we can. It's not just moving their business to another county. The way I feel and they feel too is when they move their shop to another county, they're going to be pulling from a different employee pool. So we may actually, people in the media may actually lose a job if these businesses go out because they're going to get somebody closer to the shop. I really feel it's the least we could do. Like I said, it is forestry and agriculture. And I would support leaving that part exempt.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes. I disagree that the loggers are farmers. They don't own the land usually or the trees. They provide a service to the logging industry. And as one of the farmers in my district said, you know, the guy that was here, I forget his name, I'm sorry, but he compared a corn picker to a tree cutter. And there's some very distinct differences in usage. A corn picker is used about a month to most 6 weeks out of the year. It's not used on rainy days or wet soil conditions, and logging equipment runs all year long and only stops for the most severe weather conditions. That's a quote from one of the farmers in my district who thinks that we should not exempt logging equipment.
I've had a number of farmers contact me with very similar as well. I think there seems to be a consensus that tree farming, planting, growing, et cetera,
right.
is absolutely farming, but that the loggers that we're talking about are not in the business, based on what other farmers tell me, of farming by the normal definitions. They are being hired by tree farmers to cut down and process the trees.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you recall, the Commissioner of Revenue gave us a analysis of this after the last meeting. She emailed it to all of us, and she's saying that no other counties are adopting this, at least not right now. So the risk of losing it to an adjacent county is probably pretty low.
Well, I've had
She's researched it with all the other commissioners.
I've had similar conversations with the farmers, and I agree with them. I mean, they bring up valid points. And to that note too, the commissioner's review, as well as the figures that we were told were overinflated as far as the tax relief. When you break it down to the actual harvesting equipment, it's almost more work for staff to figure out than the bit of relief that they're receiving, is how I understood her report. I don't know if
That's my
anybody else
understanding,
took
too.
it.
That's my understanding too.
Differently, but, you know, I think if you are going to do something, it should be on a more feasible, broad term coverage where it would help people. And I do agree with Mr. Scott in that, as he mentioned, the man that spoke, there's only a few counties that have adopted it anyway.
And no neighboring counties, I think.
That makes me question it. You know, if it was really great, I don't think it would need to be sold. I think that it would just be a regional wide or statewide adoption.
And if that becomes a trend later, we can always revisit it. But right now, I recommend we don't.
That's,
exempt equipment.
that's a feedback I've gotten also.
And okay, so I don't believe we're required to take any action.
That's right.
Particularly if we're choosing not to adjust our current tax code. Does anyone have any motion that they would like to make to take any action tonight?
Well, Mr. Chairman, as I've expressed before, I mean, the gentleman came here and took his time to come and talk to us. I think we at least owe him an answer, whether we take action or not. If the decision is to not take action, we should inform him that we won't be doing that.
I'm comfortable doing that. I've had some email exchanges with him. I'm happy to follow up. As I don't hear a motion being made to take action, I will be happy to give him that decision that we're choosing not to address it at this point. All right, thank you for the discussion. And we'll look forward to the follow-up on items 12 and 13 on next month's agenda. The next item for discussion is subdivision and road naming. Ms. Steele has submitted information to us in our packets about 2 subdivisions. Thank you, Ms. Steele.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I have 3 things that I'm seeking your approval on. The first one is a subdivision name request for Honeysuckle Farms. That is the 3-lot subdivision off Lodore Road that you all approved the rezoning for recently. So I'm looking for approval for that subdivision, just the name. The other is for Mount Moriah Farms. We're looking for approval for both the name and the road. The subdivision name is Mount Moriah Farms and the road is Mount Moriah Road. So we need approval for both of those items. And if you all have any questions about that, I'm happy to take a stab at it.
So we need a motion to approve?
Yeah, if there are no questions or discussion, yes.
I move we approve both subdivision names.
And the road name?
And,
In the road.
and yes, and the road name.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of those approvals, respond to the sound of aye.
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 Any in opposition, same sign. Thank you, Ms. Steele.
Thank you.
All right, we're at the county administrator's report section, and Mr. Harvey, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The waste management check for October was $260,667.25. Slightly below, I think, what we had been seeing, and it was weather and just a couple of hiccups because of environmental things, no real change in supply or anything. The CRC has submitted their items of interest for October, and I'm sure that I would take a shot at elaborating on some of those, or either Mr. Scott could, if anybody's got anything they'd like to talk about. I think the big thing that they're doing in Amelia, or for Amelia now, is working on some funding sources for the Hindle building. The DMV Select report is in. For this past month, it was $3,858.41. And obviously, that's the monthly fee from DMV, plus it looks like one Easy Pass was sold out of the office. And I guess everybody knows, besides Easy Pass, you can get hunting license and fishing license in there as well. So you don't have to go to Walmart if you if you need some of that. Piedmont Senior Resources, the monthly newsletter, The Advocate, is behind tab number 14. Tab number 15 is a deallocation of revenue sharing funds. Mr. Whitaker is probably better equipped to answer this question, but on the Rural Rustic Program project that we had on Route 603, this was the money that was left over. And when the money is left over for Rural Rustic, they take it back in as opposed to roll it over for us to do something else with. Mr. Whitaker, anything else?
Well, actually, we get our share of that back. Now, they hold on to it to make sure any other projects we have didn't go over budget. But at some point in time, we'll actually get a check back.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Harvey, Mr. Harvey, on item 4, the advocate, I'd just like to say a little something about that. I'm sorry, but Piedmont Senior Resources is doing a lot of really good work lately. I don't know if any of you follow it, but with COVID, they have gotten tons of CARES Act money, and they're really doing a lot of good work in all the counties they represent, especially in Amelia. And the executive director and the board, which Frank and I are both members of, are trying to make, the last year or so, we've been really trying to make the distribution of the money, not just CARES, but all the money spent at Piedmont Senior Resources more equitable, because Prince Edward County and Nottoway always got the lion's share of all the money, and it just wasn't balanced. So I asked to have data put together in both numerical and graph form, which shows very visually what's going on. And it's really working because they're actually balancing it out more. Amelia is getting a lot more share of the money, especially in the non-emergency medical transportation, people that need rides to doctor's appointments and so forth. So I just want everyone to know, you can read The Advocate, but I just like to toot their horn a little bit. They're doing really good work. It's a great organization.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 16, got a VDAX report on the gypsy moth suppression program. And that came to you via a letter with a link to a website if anybody wants to read the report. Item 17. Delinquent real estate auction. This is information that has been provided by the treasurer. 2 reports for the sales that they had this past summer. $335,000 worth of bids, collecting $48,225 in delinquencies. And the circuit court is now holding $279,000 in excess proceeds resulting from the sale. And I don't know if anybody besides David Whitaker, me, and Sean Wyan are getting emails from people wanting to know what we do with our those resources, but that's what they're talking about. And Marilyn Wilson is responding to these folks. So even though we continue to get the emails from them, but that's the money they're talking about.
Thank you.
Okay, and that is it for the board book. Down to board member comments.
No, Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment on the last issue, delinquent real estate auction?
Yes.
I thank Stephanie Coleman and her team for making this happen. In the past, it took much longer for delinquent properties to be auctioned off. Evidently, a lawyer used to be in charge of it. She's come up with a new process. So when someone like Ms. Coleman gets creative and goes over and above what's minimally required in her position, she ought to be praised by this board and should receive some kind of recognition for it. It makes us more efficient. It gets money back into the coffers faster. And we're usually quick to criticize, but not so quick to praise. So I would just like to publicly thank Stephanie Coleman and her team for this effort. And I'd also like to add, most of you probably don't know that good things are happening right here in our constitutional offices. The Commissioner of Revenue and her team this year alone has collected over an additional $150,000 in taxes through her efforts in being more vigilant in collecting, and also changes to some of the rules with land use, not changes to the rules, but enforcement of the rules better than it had been done before. So I would just like to thank both of them for what they do. I don't think they get enough recognition for it.
Thank you. Very good points, and agree.
The last issue was, we need to remember, everyone in the county administration and us are expenses. Those two generate revenue.
Yeah.
They collect the money. They're the ones that get the money for us to spend.
Very true. All right, thank you. Well, our last item on the scheduled agenda are the board member comments. It's our opportunity for anything that didn't have a specific other place that we'd like to comment on. And we will go ahead in our typical order of the districts. So Mr. Phelps, first one's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to thank the citizens of District 1 for giving me this opportunity to be their voice. I feel I can do a good job, and call me if you got any questions. The second little thing is a little housekeeping. I rode around and seen a lot of folks. Just speaking from the emergency services side, the mailman, he brings the bills to the house because he comes there every day. There's a lot of addresses that need attention on the mailbox. So it'd be a good thing if you could look at that and maybe get them more posted better. If we come in emergency services, we probably be coming in the middle of the night. So just look at your address numbers and make sure they're well visible. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Yes, I'd just like to welcome David Phelps to the board. It's nice to be back to a full team, and District 1 has the representation now that it deserves. I also commend David on his choice for Planning Commission member. I spent quite a bit of time on the phone with him the other day, and I was really impressed with him. So I look forward to working with David and the rest of the board to move Amelia forward.
Thank you. Mr. Wyatt?
I wanted to thank David for stepping up and coming on the board, and especially with such unplanned short notice. I appreciate that, and I look forward to working with him in yet another venue of the community service. So
Thank you. As District 4, I'll go next. Then I'd like to thank all three members who ran for that position. I think competition is a good thing, and I was glad to see multiple people interested in this very important position representing their peer citizens. I do also commend Mr. Phelps and welcome him to the board as well. And I would say he's already hit the ground running and been very productive, not just tonight, but what many people don't see are all the things that have to go on, like the meetings he mentioned and responding to citizens' requests and others. And he has really jumped in immediately and been a great benefit to all of us. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Nothing else to add tonight, and not at this point. And I appreciate support that was given to me this year, and also the last few months or the last few weeks. This has been difficult, but it's been a life awakening, so to speak. But we'll hang in there and get her done. Thank you.
Thank you all. We have an item, a standing item, if we need any closed session at the end. Do we have a need for a closed session? And if so, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we have, we need the official, we do need a closed session, but I don't have the language.
Do you have the language for the closed session? Oh.
You know, we've got I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Glenn Wilkerson has got new employees here to introduce.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry we made you wait the whole time. I sincerely apologize for that. Yes, please come and we would love to welcome new employees to the county. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members, and congratulations on your being chairman, Mr. Phelps, and being elected to the board. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come before you to present my new employees. But before I do that, I want to thank you guys for the money that you allowed us to have for the RFP. And we are still trying to move forward on that, but I just want to say thank you because, you know, it's one of those things that will make things happen. And we really appreciate it. So with no further ado, my first employee is Ms. Nora Pike. She's my administrative clerk assistant, and she was hired. She was with us as a volunteer at first for a year. She took on the part-time job, and then she became full-time as of October the 15th. And I'll let her have something to say.
Well, I'm excited to be part of a grassroots and initiative that Amelia County has to move forward and to provide a diversity of sports programs for our community, not only children, but reaching out to adults and families. And I'm really excited about it. I have a lot of energy to take it to the next level and get the office operations working in a good fashion to improve our processes and digitize and computerize. Thank you.
My next employee I would like to introduce is Mr. Jared Baker, and he's in charge of programs and facilities and fields. And he also started as a volunteer and then become part-time, and now he has the opportunity to be full-time with us, and I'd like for him to step to the podium.
Excuse me. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to be in y'all presence. It is a privilege and honor to stand before y'all. First and foremost, another thing, I want to thank you, Mr. Wilkerson, for presenting me with the prestigious opportunity to be on board his staff. I feel like my ideas will obviously present more opportunities to the kids, and as Ms. Nora said, adults too, with the programs that we offered already. Like I said, I just really want to say thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome aboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to present our new employees. And thank you for allowing us to put it in the budget, because this was the first time we had that opportunity. And this is a result. We got two great staff members. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Parks and Rec, as you very well know, but be sure everyone else remembers, one of our top four priorities for the county, and we were happy to fund these positions earlier in the year, as well as the RFP that you mentioned as well. Thank you, and welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll pick back up there. Thank you. So sorry you had to wait the whole meeting for that. And we had a motion being made that I think Mr. Gore will read.
Mr. Chairman, I can state the motion. You may want to sort of let the public know whether you expect action afterward, and sometimes we'll do that so they can leave or not. But
We are not expecting any action during the closed session. It is to discuss performance of some of our appointed committees.
Yeah. So given that, Mr. Chairman, the board needs a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2, 3711A1 to discuss personnel matters involving the performance of specific appointees of the board.
So moved.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. All right, thank you. We're going into closed session. Oh. Excellent. Thank you for doing that too.
I'll come back. Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
you gotta go back and talk. So.